Hello, in this video our objective is to graph polynomial functions from factored form, and we're going to do this in a couple of steps. The steps are given here in the instructions. They say for each polynomial function state the end behavior. So we have to first state the end behavior, and we've done this in previous examples. Here you can see for part A, to state the end behavior, we have a negative leading coefficient. So a -1 is our leading coefficient, and we have 1, 2, 3 x's, which gives us x cubed. So our function is going to look something like this. So our end behavior is as x goes to -infinity, f of x, it's on the left side, f of x is going towards positive infinity, and then as x goes to positive infinity, f of x goes towards negative infinity. So we've determined the end behavior, and now we want to state the values of the real zeros, including multiplicity. So how we're going to do this is we are going to take each factor. So I have here, this is part B, I have -x, I have x plus 3, and I have x minus 4. What you're going to do is you're going to set each factor equal to 0. Ooh, backwards. And you're going to solve. You're going to solve for x. So here, let me switch colors. So here I'm going to divide each side by -1, which gives me x is equal to 0. Here I'm going to subtract 3 from each side, giving me x is equal to -3. And here I'm going to add 4 to both sides, giving me x is equal to 4. So what I have here are my zeros. So when I plot this, I know where my function goes through, and I'm going to go ahead now, and lastly I'm going to sketch the graph. So I'm going to draw my x and y axis, and I'm actually going to do this, let's make it purple, just so you can see. Here's my y-axis, here's my x-axis, and sorry I can't increase the thickness on my pen, so that's what we're working with. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph my zeros, and you should remember this from our first lesson in this unit about given zeros and given negative end behavior. You may have missed this if you were taking the PSAT, but you can catch up now. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to graph our zeros. So I have a 0 here at 0. I have a 0 at -3. 1, 2, 3. I have a 0 at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we were given our end behavior. And our end behavior is as x goes to -infinity, f of x goes to positive infinity. So that is somewhere up here. As x goes to positive infinity, f of x goes to -infinity. So that's somewhere down here. So we're just going to give a rough sketch of my graph. I'm going to go through this point, and go through this point. Again, if you missed this lesson, a couple of questions that students generally have, which is, how do I know sorry for a second. How do I know where my How do I know where my function has a minimum or has a maximum? In this case, without that given information, we don't know. So you can kind of just make your best guess, and just remember to try to make your graph smooth and curved. Okay. All right. Thus, we have accomplished our objective of graphing polynomial functions from factored form.